What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Lose Weight by Eating podcast. I'm your host, Audrey Johns, and this week I've got no script. Truth be told, I never have a script, but usually I write like an outline of what I want to talk about. And I thought it might be fun to just be me and chat with all of you about morning routines. For those of you who have a very hectic morning, this can be helpful, or you can take these ideas and move them to maybe after work or right before bed. Either way, I hope that they will really help you. My first note I want to hit on is when you start your day off eating really healthy, it's really easy to stick to your plan all day. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to talk about morning routine. I want to kind of go through my morning routine with all of you and explain why it's been so important to my success in weight loss and healthy eating and, all of that. So for those of you who have heard from me a lot, I love my coffee. So typically what my morning routine looks like is I get up and I enjoy my coffee. Some days, especially the days that I have to bring my kiddo to school, that enjoyable coffee moment is significantly shorter. But more often than not, I really just try to honor the fact that I love my coffee and I'm going to enjoy it uninterrupted. This is something I've been doing for about the last couple of months. I used to jump on Facebook and start responding to everyone's comments right away. And I found that I wasn't really honoring what I needed. And that's kind of going to be the whole theme of how I set up this morning routine. So I get up, I enjoy my coffee, and if that takes an hour, cool. If all I have is 15 minutes, that works too. But I really try to enjoy that moment. Now, if coffee isn't your thing, it could be reading the paper, it could be playing with a pet, or taking a walk with a pet, or braiding your daughter's hair, or whatever you genuinely enjoy and you don't want to miss out on. Make that your biggest priority in the morning. Next, I change into my workout clothes. Unless I have my kiddo going to school that morning, typically then I'm enjoying my coffee in my workout clothes. And I go to the gym. If I have to bring my daughter to school, I'll bring her to school and then I'll go to the gym. And I really try to recommend as much as possible. If you're new to exercise, just do something you like. It doesn't have to be the hardest, most effective exercise. It's just about getting in the routine of going on a regular basis. Now, for those of you who can't afford a gym membership, you could go for a walk. You could do a YouTube video. There's lots of great, easy, low impact, even seated yoga for those of you who maybe can't exercise very much. And I make that a priority. Then I come home and I make myself a really healthy breakfast. I've been stuck on, and I'll put a link in the show notes, but I've been stuck on I make this wonderful omelet with feta, because I love feta. I love a really good salty cheese. It's the best way to start the day, is having something I really love. So the omelet has some spinach. I cook down the spinach, take it out of the pan, add the eggs, then add the feta, salt and pepper, lots of red pepper flakes because I like it spicy, and then continue making the omelet. But I have found that on the days that I have this really healthy breakfast and I really honor what I want to have, it's really easy to stay on plan for the rest of the day. And then from there I get ready for the day and I meditate. So what I want to really chat about, and like I said, I typically have a whole plan and I'm always looking at my notes and really trying to bring you this very succinct podcast episode. If it feels a little disjointed, this is just how my mind works. But what I was finding is my job is really busy. So I have the website, I have the Facebook page, and I respond to everybody. I have 2 podcasts, and I'm working on another really big project that I don't want to jinx, so I'm not going to talk about it quite yet until it's all buttoned up. But I basically do the work of 3 people in any given day. I work 7 days a week. On the weekends, I'm really only managing the Facebook page, but I am working from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed on Facebook. And if you're on there, you've seen the comments, I'm checking in and posting regularly. So I really had to find a way to honor what I needed, because what I was doing was I was getting up in the morning and starting work right away. I was working all day, very often not feeding myself when I needed to be fed, or grabbing something that was maybe a little bit less healthy than what I could be having. And then I would get all the way to the end of the night and I still had not done self-care. And some nights I would get it done, but most nights I wouldn't. And as a mom, all of you other parents out there, I'm sure you can understand, everything takes a backseat to your kids and to their needs. And there's something really beautiful in that, but it's not always sustainable. And I was breaking. I was emotional, exhausted. I was dealing with depression. All of these things are things that we all suffer with. We all have this come up in our lives. And it wasn't until I joined a gym and started trying to make my gym membership worth it that I realized, I'm not honoring what I need first. I'm honoring it last. And with that, I'm not taking good care of myself. And when you don't take care of yourself, especially when you're a single parent, nobody else is going to take care of you, and you're going to become exhausted and you're going to feel run down, and you're going to not eat healthy. You're going to not show up for your kids maybe as much as you'd like to. Everything else kind of starts to slip when you don't take care of yourself. And so what I decided was I was going to move all of my self-care to the beginning of the day. Now, again, I get that not everybody can do that. I have a lot of nurses and teachers and people who have a really rigorous early morning that they just have to get through. You can absolutely take this honoring yourself and maybe doing it right after work, maybe before you go home or on your way home, or part of your wind down, right? So what I recommend doing is move your self-care, your taking care of yourself, to as early as you possibly can in the day. And if possible, start your day that way. And if that seems really difficult, just try it on your weekends and see how you feel. See if you can just kind of show up better and deal with stress a little bit better. This has really, really been working for me. And I almost talked about it last week, but I wanted to bring it to you because I felt like this little aha moment I had for myself, I feel like it could really help everyone. So try to move all of that self-care behavior to as early as you can in the day. And if you can't, at the very least, having the healthiest breakfast that you like, having the healthiest breakfast you can, will set you up for success all day long. So on the Lose Weight by Eating website, I love to do copycat recipes. So if you're like, no, I want a donut, that's not healthy, I've got 2 different donut recipes on there for you. I've got a strawberry donut with chocolate on it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I just have a traditional white donut with the pink frosting. I grew up mostly living in the back of a donut shop. My family, my grandparents owned Foster's Donuts in Simi Valley, and I know all of my first birthday parties were all there, and I basically grew up there. No surprise, I ended up having a weight problem later on, but I get it. And the pink donuts were always my thing. So you can find those. If you're more of a savory eater, we've got the low calorie protein bagels. We've got bagel sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, all kinds of omelets. You can find all kinds of healthy breakfasts that you will actually crave and really, really want on the website. So I recommend, if everything else about eating healthy and exercise and, all of those points are just too much to handle, just start with breakfast. Because just that healthy start for the day will get you set up for the rest of the day. You're more likely to stick to your healthy eating plan when you've already done it one meal. So that's what I really recommend. If you typically go through a drive-through, I recommend meal prep your breakfasts ahead of time. The breakfast sandwiches are on the website. They're great. I'll make sure to put lots of links in the show notes. But they're like a minute and a half and you're done in the mornings if you meal prep them ahead of time. So I really recommend try it for a week and really be present and notice, is this helping me? Is it easier to stay on plan? Because we all want some kind of a weight loss shortcut. And this is a great way of doing it. Just start the day off well, and it will make the rest of the day easier. Now, I wanted to talk to you about showing up for yourself and self-care in the kitchen. I started this podcast with a lot of different thoughts, a lot of different, for lack of a better word, agenda. And it kind of quickly morphed into self-care in the kitchen. And I'm so glad it did, because I love the self-care movement, and I love the self-love movement, and I love the body positivity movement. But I don't love the self-love means I can go through a drive-through breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because that's not really loving yourself. If you want to go through a drive-through once a week as a free meal, by all means, do it. But self-love and self-care is really about honoring your body and what you need. And we don't need junk food 3 meals a day. We need healthy food. And I genuinely believe that eating healthy is self-love. Cooking yourself a healthy meal is self-care. So I really kind of want to try to reframe that in this podcast. And if you've been listening for a long time, you know I've been challenging you to challenge me about it and to comment and, help me through this journey, because it's something I'm working on as well. Bringing self-care into the kitchen. Body positivity can also be, I'm eating healthy. And, I'm okay with the cellulite, and I'm okay with the gray hairs. I love myself as I am, but I also want to take good care of myself because I love myself as I am. Does that make sense? So I'm really hoping that you can take this challenge of moving your self-care to the beginning of the day, because in that you will have more energy. The most important thing you can do is show up for yourself. And when you show up for yourself, it's so much easier to show up for your kids, to your spouse, to your friends, to your parents, to your family, to your pets, to your work colleagues. It's so much easier to show up for everyone else when you were taken care of. And I want to talk quickly about expecting others to take care of us. It's wonderful if you have a spouse or a family member who takes care of you, but it shouldn't be expected. It's kind of like that saying that happiness is an inside job. It's not my partner's job to make sure that I'm happy. It's my job to make sure that I'm happy. Happiness is an inside job, and therefore taking care of myself is an inside job. If he wants to call the house cleaner and have her come and clean the house to take care of me, if he wants to make me dinner to take care of me, these are all wonderful, loving acts. And it's great, and I encourage them, just in case if you're listening. But I have to take care of myself. I can't expect someone else to do that. How would you feel if your spouse or if your parents or your adult kids had this expectation that you are going to pick up the pieces for them at any given moment? And hope and expectation are different. But let me give you an example. years and years and years ago, I lived with a fella, and he had quite the lead foot, as do I. And if he got pulled over by a cop, it was my fault because I didn't warn him that the cop was there. Is that fair? I didn't notice either, but it's not my fault. You've got to take care of yourself. You have to take accountability for yourself. It can't be your partner's job to make you happy. It cannot be your partner's job to take care of you. This is your job. It's your job. Just like it's not your job to take care of them. So take care of yourself first, and or make it a priority. And you will find that you will naturally show up more for them. You'll have better relationships, and you'll have a better peace of mind that I can take care of myself. And I would love to hear from all of you. Please feel free to leave comments, either here or on my Facebook page. I answer all of them. I'd love to hear how you feel about this, because again, happiness is an inside job, and expecting someone else to do it for you will only lead to disappointment and possible fights. And that's something we can easily avoid by saying, you know what, I need to do self-care. I'm going to get up 30 minutes early. Or I'm going to be home 30 minutes late after work because I'm going to show up for myself. I hope all of that's resonating with you. So now I want to go over a few different ideas for setting up a morning routine that can help you lose weight or maintain weight or just eat healthier or make a better example of yourself to your children. First of all, I recommend first thing in the morning, do something that brings you joy. And that can be playing with a pet, like I said, reading the newspaper, having your coffee, uninterrupted. And if you have to get up 30 minutes early to do that, do it. This will be invaluable to you. Once you try it for a week or for a month, you'll realize, yeah, I could have used 30 more minutes of sleep, but I feel better showing up for myself every single morning. And if 30 minutes is too much, what about 10 minutes? So start the day off feeding yourself, quote unquote. Start the day off taking care of you. And a lot of people tend to do this before their kids get up. And for moms with littles, I know this can be tough. This could be as easy as taking a shower with the door closed. If you have to let them watch TV or play on the iPad so that you can have a little bit of peace, it's 10 minutes, it's 20 minutes. Hot shower with some music playing in the background, that could be enough for you. It could be the coffee. It could be going to the gym. But try to find a way to give yourself a minimum of 10 minutes in the morning for self-care. And if you're not sure what that is, write down 10 examples of self-care that you wish you could do. So self-care can be meditating, journaling. Could be putting your makeup on, brushing your hair and styling it. It could be praying, if that's your thing. It could be reading the Bible, reading a book, reading a newspaper. It could be, and I know this one's hard in the morning, but if it's summer and you want to, it could be polishing your nails or your toenails. It could be any of these things, but whatever makes you feel better yourself in that day, that's what self-care is. And a big part is just eating healthy. So try it this weekend or next weekend. Try to start your day off taking care of yourself. And for the women out there with men in their lives, men love to help. And if you say, hey, honey, I need your help with something, men love to feel needed and appreciated. Say, hey, honey, I need to show up better for myself this weekend. I'm going to try this thing out I heard on this weird podcast, and I'm going to meditate in the morning. Could you please kind of keep the kids away for a little bit? Or could you please give me a little bit of space to do this? Women are the same way. And, no matter what your household situation is, even kids will give you what you need. And, if they won't give you the space, say, mommy's going to meditate right now. You're welcome to join me. You may not interrupt me. So either you can go and watch TV or play in your room or play on your iPad or color or whatever it is that your kids genuinely love to do. Maybe give them that free pass in the morning, even if it's something that you only hold for special occasions. Or say, join me. This could all be really great. If you have a gym membership and you've got the kids, find out if they have a kid program where you can bring your kids in. So there are a lot of different ways that you can practice self-care first thing in the morning. And next, I kind of want to talk about setting up a schedule. So for those of you who watch or listen both podcasts, I interview a lot of people from a lot of different cooking reality shows. If you have not listened to the podcast, I think you might love it. It's called Who's Reality Cooking, WHO''S. And I'll make sure to add some show notes on that. So I interview these people and I'm exhausted afterwards. In fact, I just did one with someone from Is It Cake season 3. And I went into the meeting with a migraine. Thankfully, I had taken some medicine right beforehand, and halfway through, it kind of went down. Often I'm exhausted after these interviews because I'm really trying hard to show up. I'm not just being the host and the interviewer. I am also managing all of this stuff on this side and trying to help them showcase themselves as best as possible. And I'm just exhausted afterwards. And I finally set a boundary with myself that I am not going to do any interviews before noon. I am going to get all of my other work done and or self-care and or responding to messages or getting ahead on this or getting ahead on that. But I'm taking this piece of my work that is so draining and trying to move it to a point in the day where I have no excuse but to take care of myself first. I get that not everybody's job can do that. But as I keep saying, you always can do self-care on the way home or as soon as you get home. Let's talk about that. For me, bringing my work home there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get out of it, right? This is something I'm always doing. But for so many of you, the whole work culture has become, you need to be available all the time. And with that said, most of the time you probably aren't getting messages after hours, but you feel like you keep needing to check, right? And so we don't really have that separation between work and home. And this is a really great spot in between work and home to kind of shake things up, to trick yourself, to trick your mind into, okay, work mode is off. If my boss sends me a message, I can quickly answer it or tell them that I'll get back to them tomorrow on it or whatever works. But we need to find some way to kind of buffer it because we're really bringing our work home a little bit too much and never really turning that piece of our lives off. So going to the gym on the way home would be great. Going home and, changing into some comfy clothes and maybe soaking your feet if you wear high heels all day long, in a nice little Epsom salt bath, that could be some great self-care that kind of breaks that up. If you just don't have time, listen to a podcast in the car that maybe you really, really love, or listen to your favorite music in the car and sing along. Something that my therapist and I have been working through is stimulating the vagus nerve. And this is all very medical. So, I'm trying not to get too new agey on you this week. I think I kind of hit you hard with it last week. I did not get a great response from it, and that's fine. But your vagus nerve actually if you can stimulate your vagus nerve, you can reduce stress and anxiety. And that's what we're working on. And she's given me all of these different great exercises to do. Like if you're watching on YouTube, if you turn your head, like if you kind of lean your head and then look up That's a great way until you kind of feel a release. Then you do the other one. And I'll do that from time to time, but I'm not great at remembering to do it. And when she said singing, no matter how bad your voice is, mine is really bad, but singing along with music in the car can actually help to reduce stress and anxiety. And it could be a really great way for you to break up your day and say, okay, I'm not at work now. This is my transition point in between work and home life, so that when you do get home, you can show up better. So for those of you who do not have time in your day to work in self-care, work it in on your way home from work in the form of listening to a podcast or a book on tape or singing along to music in the car. Call a friend. You can do self-care in the car. But no matter what I really want to impart this week, what I really want to encourage you to do for yourself is make self-care a priority this week and just see how you feel. I'm pretty sure you will agree that it just makes everything just that much easier. Please, please find a way to work self-care in. It can be as easy as calling your mom on the way home from work, calling a friend. And you can get up early and get it done ahead of time in the form of meditation, enjoying your coffee. I like to listen to the Norah Jones station on Pandora. I am of that age where I still listen to Pandora. Don't worry, I listen to Spotify on my phone. The gym, it can just be having that cup of coffee in the morning and listening to some soothing music. Also, binaural music is really great, and you can do that while you do something else, and it's great self-care. So you can put your earbuds in, because with binaural music, you really want to try to kind of tune out everything else. And you put the earpods in or the headphones on and go on YouTube and just type in binaural, BINURAL, I believe. Check out all the different kinds of binaural music. There can be binaural music for energy, and it helps. It's like a shot of espresso. I have absolutely tried it. You can do it for stress reduction. You can do it for basically any issue you have. There will be a free binaural music on YouTube. And so listen to that maybe while you cook dinner. You can do it while you're at the gym. I love to multitask at the gym. And speaking of, if you get responses on Facebook in the morning, 100% I'm at the gym while I'm responding to you. I love to kind of double down on things. And so listening to binaural music is great for self-care, and you can do it while you're doing other things. If you take a walk with the dog, put in your earbuds, listen to binaural music as you walk. If you ride a bus or a train to and from work, here's another great opportunity, binaural music. So I hope I've given you some good examples of working self-care into your day. I know it seems strange that this podcast is about a weight loss morning routine and I'm talking about self-care, but it all really comes down to this is what genuinely works. If you show up for yourself, if you make a plan to show up for yourself and for what you need every single day, you are much more likely to do it. But if you say, if I have time, I'll get to the gym. If I have time, I'll meditate. If I have time, you're never going to have time if you're putting it off to be the last thing of the day. So I challenge you to make the time for 1 week and see if it helps. I'll make sure to put some yummy recipe links in the show notes, especially my feta and spinach omelet. It's so good. I highly recommend that you add lots of red pepper flakes to it if you like spicy food as I do. Be sure to check out last week's episode. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. It's all about manifesting for weight loss or prayer for weight loss, depending on what you feel more comfortable with. And I have lots of other amazing weight loss, self-care, self-love, eating healthy podcast episodes for you to listen to here at the Lose Weight by Eating podcast. I will chat with you next week. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please be kind to yourself. Please take care of yourself. Remember, happiness is an inside job. Until next week. Bye.